First email comes from Anthony, and he says, "Hi there. I'd love to see a review of a Universal Audio 610 Solo and see how it affects various different mics in terms of the color it can add to home recordings. Thanks so much, and good health to you, Anthony." Anthony, thank you very much for the email. I do have plans to review the LA610 Mark II. That is not the UA610 Solo. It does have the exact same, the identical preamp section. The difference is the LA610 has the optical compressor built into the channel strip, which is pulling inspiration from the LA2A, which is one of my personal favorite, if not my favorite compressor. So that is why I have the LA610 Mark II. I will eventually get around to reviewing it, but I need to work up to it. I'm not going to jump head first and make my first preamp review be the highest quality pre that I have. I want to start out with some lower end gear and put out the reviews and see what kind of feedback people have, see what people think is missing from my reviews and how I can improve upon them. And then when I get around to the LA610, hopefully I'll be great at it. But guess what? I have it here. I'm going to do a quick sample of spoken word so you can hear what kind of coloration it can add, at least to the TLM49. I'm not going to sit here and spend 10 hours going back and forth between a bunch of different microphones for this podcast. This isn't the place for it, but here is a quick sample of that. Let's jump to that now. First up, I am on the Neumann TLM49 running directly into the Universal Audio X8 audio interface. No unison pre's, no effects, none of that. My gain is set at 36 decibels, 24-bit 48 kilohertz, and here is how it sounds. Let's jump to the tube preamp. Now I have the 49 running into the LA610 Mark II. I have my compressor bypassed. The gain is set to -10, so we should be getting as little tube saturation as possible. And then the level is set to 8. We are running line level into the Universal Audio X8, recording 24-bit 48 kilohertz, and here is how it sounds. Okay, this is me again on the Universal Audio X8 and the TLM49, no processing, nothing. I just want to give you a baseline so you can hear this again before we jump back to a more tube-saturated sound from the UA610. Okay, let's jump back to that. We're back on the 49, running into the LA610 again. Now the gain is set to 0, so this is right middle of the road. The level is set to 5.5 or so, and here is how this is sounding. You should be getting a little bit more coloration, and let's go ahead and jump back to direct into the interface, and then we'll do one more test with as much tube saturation as we can get. And for good measure, here we are on the TLM49 again, so you can hear how this sounds. Again, no processing, 24-bit, 48 kilohertz, 36 dB of gain, about 4 inches off of the microphone, and here's how it sounds. Let's jump back to the Universal Audio LA610. And finally, we are on the TLM49 running into the Universal Audio LA610 Mark II. Again, the compressor is bypassed. The gain is set to +10, and my level is set to 2.5. And this is going to be the most tube saturation or tube color that you can get out of this preamp or this channel strip. I know you're saying the UA610 Solo. So this would be as much coloration as you can get out of that Solo preamp without any compression. And just because we can, because I have the LA610 Mark II, I've engaged the optical compressor and we're getting 6 dB of gain reduction, and I just love optical compressors, so of course I'm going to throw it on and do a quick demo. Nothing else has changed, but hopefully that quick back and forth between direct into the interface and then running through the tube preamp was helpful for you and will show you the different characteristics. If you're listening to the audio only and you weren't able to get a good enough audio quality, try going to the YouTube channel, because I don't decompress that down to 128 kilobits per second, that should still be a WAV file that's uploaded. YouTube does all its goofiness to it, but it shouldn't be as degraded as a 120 kilobits per second M4A. So there you go. Hopefully that was helpful. What is your name? I don't have this up. Anthony, best of luck to you. Hopefully that helped make your decision.